Hey guys, back with our red MR2, and I know some of you guys are probably wondering what's up with the 2GR build. It's still in progress. I'll probably do another video pretty soon here with the rest of the parts. I have all the parts ready for the 2GR swap, so all I gotta do is get whichever car I'm gonna put this 2GR in, whether it's this one or the white TRD one. Right now I'm kind of confused because I would really love to get a 2GR and the red one instead, but if you're following, you know we got some issues with this red MR2. If you're here for the 2GR build, just hang with us for a little bit. I just got to figure out the plan for this red car. Ideally, I want to get it out of my garage into a shop so we can get some body work done, but still haven't figured that out yet. But what I want to do today is I want to kind of look at this side of the car. Last video, we kind of looked at the underneath because we took the tank out, looked at the driver's side. Now today I want to take off this side panel and see what's happening under here. If you look very closely, here is a piece of the side of the car, right, which kind of fell out. And as you can see, there's some filler that, whoever had repaired it just kind of shoved some filler in that little hole and I guess covered it up. And then we had the border side skirts on it, which kind of hid all of this, but I am trying to go back with more like an OEM look. So anyways, we got some issues here already, and I want to pull this cover off, this vent, see what type of issues are lying underneath here. And part of the reason why I'm doing this, if everybody's wondering why am I just ripping this car apart, I need to show it to a body shop, and the best way for them to see it is with everything off so they really understand the scope of what needs to happen here, right? So I'm going to take this off today. The brakes, I realize all the brakes are frozen open. Fortunately, they're not frozen shut, so the car can roll. But we need to have brakes if we want this car to drive. So what I'm doing is I'm removing the brakes. I'm going to replace the calipers, and the backing plate is fully rusted. And honestly, I'm really just trying to get to the point where if I take a hammer and tap anywhere in this car, like rust doesn't just fall on the floor. You'll see what I mean in a second here. But let's jump in right into what we're going to do today. Let's get this vent off. Let's get these brakes off. If we have enough time, we'll show you the brakes going back on, so you'll see a before and after. But I plan to do a little bit of transformation here so this car looks a lot better. So if you're ever curious how to get the side vent off, there's a little Phillips screw. You got to basically take this strip off first, and then once you get the strip off, you get access to pop this out. So there's a little Phillips head right here. You're going to get this guy out. So just go ahead and take the screw out first. And then we're going to go inside the cabin. So I have the interior fully stripped, so it's very easy. If your interior is intact, I'm going to take inside. You're going to see you're going to have to take out the panel right below here so you can access a bolt or nut, which is inside of one of these holes. But I'll bring inside and show you to get this trim off. All right, so right here, if you see, there's a little nut, 10mm nut. So you're going to get your wrench on here. You're going to pull this bolt out, and as you can see, if we come back, I am in the back panel right below the triangle glass here, or the rear glass. So that's what we're gonna pull. All right, so I use a little magnet tool to get this 10mm nut off because I'll show you when I get the trim out why, but a little detail. You don't have to use this, but I do. I'm gonna go around now. We're gonna pop this trim out. Forgot to mention, so there is actually the Phillips here, and there's another 10mm in the back here. So you gotta remember to pull that one. Now you guys see a lot of rust, so I'm going back and forth. If your car is not rusty, you probably won't have to go through all this trouble that I'm going. But whenever you have rusty bolts, kind of go left and right and left and right, and it just kind of clears the thread so the thread doesn't get gummed up. See what I mean? There's just rust falling everywhere on this car. Okay, so two 10mm, one on the inside here, one on the inside in the car. The Phillips head right here, and then this should be ready to pop out. It has two little clips. Alright, so here's those two clips that were held in. The other side came out pretty easy, but this one I had to obviously pry it out. But yeah, it's out. Now this side vent should just pop right out. There are two little clips on the bottom, but you just kind of put a little bit of pressure, and there it is, pops right out. And now we get to see but you guys are seeing this for the first time as I am, what is happening under here. So the good news is right here is still solid. On the other side, this part was rotted out, so this side is a little bit better, a lot better actually. It's just under here that's a problem. I did take this piece out on the other side because I had rust here, but I think I might be able to get away with not removing this at this point, although it is painted up and I probably need to get this cleaned up. But in the interest of time, I'll probably take it out at a later date. For now, let's get to taking these brakes off and continuing to de-rust this car. Alright, so we're here on the rear brakes. You guys have seen me do a lot of rear brakes if you follow this channel. This is not so much a DIY how to remove your brakes, it's more like how to de-rust your brakes. So there are basically two 17 millimeter bolts for the caliper, one up top, one on bottom. There goes some rust falling. So I'm going to pull those, I'm going to slip this whole caliper off. The entire caliper assembly is being removed because I'm replacing it with a brand new one. You know, for the price of a new one, I just figured it was way easier to just put a new one here than try to rebuild this and again just deal with all this rust. So let's go ahead and remove these bolts, get this caliper off, and then we're going to take the rotor off and knock that whole rusted backing plate off. Now if you're wondering, these things do not pull that easy, but I pulled them before. Took me a while, but in the interest of time for this video, so now I can just use my handheld impact here and get these bolts out. Let's get the lower one. So now we should be able to just slide this off. Now I did take the e-brake assembly off before, and that took a while as well because it was frozen shut. Good news is e-brake cables seem to be fine. Okay, caliper comes off, rotor comes off, and I'm gonna clean those up and throw them back on, at least temporary. Wow, look at this thing. Look at this thing. So there are three mounting points here. One right here, and one over here. But obviously this thing, as you can see, it's just falling apart. It's like paper. You can literally move it like paper. But let's get this caliper out of the way. I'm going to pull the brake line now and get this caliper out of the way because it has to come out. And look, these pads are very new. So new pads, but again, the car just sat and just kind of got deteriorated because of that. So let's pull the calipers. Again, I pulled these before in the interest of time. So 14 millimeter here. And this brake fluid needs to be changed anyway, so it kind of just works out. New brakes, new fluid. All right, there you go. Now these you have to spin them in, but the other side was frozen shut, so I figured this side is the same. Now the e-brake assembly works on this one, but on the other one it was frozen, so who knows, maybe this side is good, but either way I got two new ones. All right, so now we're gonna get this thing off. 10 millimeter, not an 8 millimeter in these little bolts, so I'm gonna just pull them off for now just to get them out of the way. And then, you know, it's not like you're pulling them to get this thing off because the whole thing is disintegrated anyways. But let's see. The other side I had to vice grip them off, so at least these are turning. All right. Ooh, look at that, guys. It's gone. dirt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna obviously get the brakes going. I was gonna paint these things, but I'm just gonna clean up the surface rust. And then once I have the car figured out, then you know when we truly go through this thing, then I'll take all the spindles off and paint everything properly, because it's kind of hard to paint it on the car, especially with this level of rust. So it's just gonna be a clean up here, which you'll see in the video. Put some good brakes on and keep it moving. So we got the rear off. I'm gonna move to the front because today is disassembly. And like I said, if we have time, we'll show you the reassembly in this video. If not, you'll catch on the next one. And let's head to the front. All right, moving on to the front. Now check out this strut. The strut itself is like all rotted out. So I have another set of struts from the TRD MR2. So I'm actually gonna put it on because this one is just falling apart. And for whatever it's worth, I'm gonna feel much better than that. The one I took off of the last car, which I felt was bad, looks way better than this one. So we're gonna replace the strut as well. And yeah, so let's get this off. Same deal, two 17mm bolts on the back. Gonna get the caliper off, pull the caliper brake hose line, and then just zip everything off. And this one seems a little bit more sturdy, this backing plate. So let's see what happens when I take this rotor off. Yep, these are frozen too. Pads look really nice. Look at those pads. Can reuse these for sure. So we got one good thing. I'll take it. Get some penetrating fluid to help these rotors out. And this is how, if your rotors are stuck, use a big hammer and just boom. There you go. Alright, so this is actually the best looking corner, the least amount of rust, but this backing plate still gotta go, so we're gonna get this off. So I finally get to show you guys something that on the MR2 that's not full of rust, like you probably would have to do if you're removing this backing plate for the front brake. You got a cut right here. I did try to use a little cutting pliers, aluminum cutters, but wouldn't do it, so we broke out the Dremel. So we're just gonna go here, zip that off, so we should be good to go to get this backing plate off. It's cut right here on this one. The other ones are rusted out, but there it is, a lot of rust. So look at this shot, man. Look at it. I mean, it does look like surface rust, but we're gonna take the shock out now. So two 19mm bolts. I did mark where my bolts go, so alignment, hopefully alignment was good. We can put it back the way we had it. So now let's take the strut out and we're done here. Whatever it's worth, I'm gonna mark which bolt I took out of the lower side, so I know when I put it back in, I'm putting them back in exactly, and hopefully getting this alignment close to what it is right now. Hopefully it's all good. L for lower. So I forgot one little detail. We gotta take this brake hose off. So I'm gonna pull the clip right here, slip this thing up through the strut, and we're free. This is one rusty car. Anyways, this is where we are right now. So we got the brakes off, a lot of rust, gotta vacuum up all of this stuff. I'm gonna replace this strut, gonna replace the brakes, gonna get the brakes going, and then I'm hoping body shop. Well guys, I'm on the driver's side rear, so I decided to pull the brakes off. So I got the bracket off, the bolts pulled fine, everything is obviously rusty. and then the rotor was stuck on, so I had to use my big hammer, hit it. There is that rotor. As you can see, this backing plate, we could tell it was shot from before, so I'm just gonna remove it, clean everything up, put the brakes back together, paint that rotor right there, just again, peace of mind.
Wow. Talk about rust.
There you guys have it, just like that. We got the brakes cleaned up and restored, and you'll see it in a quick video here, from being all rusted to being, I wouldn't say perfect, but better. These are the same brakes that we just took off, and I had them wire wheeled and just spent some time on it, honestly. Those are my brakes from my original 93 that I had laying around, so I just kind of threw those on, because as you saw, the condition of the other ones were all frozen. So that's the front. This is on the passenger side. You know, like I said, the rotors, they seem okay, so hopefully they're fine when we get the car going. I'll show you the rears. And of course, you know, this would not be a project without any drama, because I actually put the brakes on. You know, there you go. Still, so not perfect. There's my usual rust that we need to go deal with. But yeah, I think this looks a lot better than what it was before, with everything all rusted everywhere. So at least the brakes will work. Part of the reason why I did the project, as I mentioned, 1, brakes were frozen. 2, there was just rust everywhere. I had to knock off the rust off the car. Let me show you the other side. Here goes the driver's side. So again, new calipers in the back. You know, knocked the rust off and painted everything up. And that leads us to, do the brakes actually work? So before I get into that, there's my old strut from my other car that I took off. So I replaced it here because, as you saw, the ones that came on this vehicle was like fully rusted out. But we got a little problem. So I tried to bleed the brakes, couldn't get it going. And this is clean now, but essentially after trying to bleed the brakes, I just saw the fluid in here kept getting black and nasty. No matter how much I put new fluid in and bled the system, I was not getting any pressure on the master cylinder, or on the pedal I should say. So the brakes were not getting hard, not working. And then we got fluid in the reservoir turning black. So typically in my experience, what that means is the master cylinder is shot, and this looks like the original factory master cylinder. So kind of makes sense with the car sitting for so many years and all this rust and moisture that we had. I'm sure the seals in the master cylinder went, so ended up buying a new master cylinder. I'll show you guys that right now. Alright guys, so like I said, the master cylinder I think is shot. Got dirty fluid coming back up and not getting pressure on the brake line. So we did all new calipers in the back and replaced working calipers on the front. So there's no reason why, there are no leaks anywhere. There's no reason why the brake should not be coming up. So I think the culprit is the master cylinder. So I went ahead and I got this one online. This is for the Tundra, Toyota Tundra, I think Land Cruiser. I'll put a link in the description. Got this on Amazon, it was pretty inexpensive to be honest with you. After looking at it, this is a 1-inch master cylinder. The factory one is a 7/8. But I don't think I can reuse this reservoir because it has the electrical plug here built in, and it's a different connector than what comes on the MR2. So what I'm going to do is just remove the screw, swap the reservoir from there to here, install the master cylinder, and then bleed the brakes, and I think we should be fine. So what I'm going to do right now is close this video out. But if you guys want to see me install and bleed the brakes, let me know. I don't think it's that technical, but hey, like everything we do here, if you've never done it before, these videos will help. So just let me know if you'd like me to do a video on this. I can certainly do it. But my plan of action now is we got the brakes redone. We got to get the master cylinder replaced, bled, and hopefully we'll have brakes on this car. Alright guys, so that's our video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Nothing new, but like I said, gotta get some work on the red baby right here. So stay tuned, a lot of progress hopefully on this car, a lot of work to come to get it back to, in a condition that I feel comfortable driving it, or comfortable position that the car is even safe to drive in. So stay tuned. I'll catch you guys on the next one.